The runaway bride. I was straightening my bow tie in front of the bathroom mirror when my phone rang. 3 hours until I do. 3 hours until I married Eliza, the woman who had swept into my life like a hurricane exactly 11 months ago. Hello? I answered, not recognizing the number. Is this Daniel Mercer? A woman's voice, unfamiliar and tense. Speaking. Who's this? My name is Rachel Winters. You don't know me, but you're about to marry my husband's ex-wife. I froze, bow tie half done, staring at my reflection. My face looked the same as it had 30 seconds ago, but something fundamental had shifted. I think you have the wrong number, I said, but the certainty in my voice had evaporated. Elizabeth and Hayes. Goes by Eliza. 33, blonde, green eyes, small scar on her left shoulder from what she claims was a childhood fall. My stomach dropped. The scar, Eliza told me she'd fallen from a treehouse when she was 9. I'm listening, I said, leaning against the cool tile wall for support. She's not who she says she is. Her real name is Claire Donovan. She's married 4 men in the last 6 years. She vanishes after the honeymoon with as much money as she can get her hands on. The world tilted sideways. I thought about the joint account we'd opened last month, my life savings of $178,000 transferred as a show of trust. The mortgage on my downtown condo she'd insisted on being added to. The investment portfolio my grandfather left me that she'd expressed such interest in. This is insane, I said, but already pieces were clicking together. How she'd been reluctant to invite family to the wedding, just us and our closest friends, she'd insisted. How vague she'd been about her childhood in Oregon. How expertly she'd isolated me from my oldest friends under the guise of building our new life together. Check your wallet, Rachel said. Is anything missing? I reached for my wallet on the counter, flipping it open. My driver's license was gone. My ID, I whispered. It's gone. She's building her escape. Listen to me carefully, Daniel. She's already booking flights, transferring money, and preparing to disappear. My husband, Jason, lost everything. So did Thomas before him, and Michael before that. I've been tracking her for 2 years. I almost had her in Seattle, but she slipped away. How did you find me? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Wedding announcements. I monitor them obsessively in major cities. Your engagement photo in the Chronicle last month, I recognized her immediately. She always chooses high-earning professionals with minimal family entanglements. Which described me perfectly, software engineer, parents deceased, only child. Eliza had found me at a charity gala I'd attended for work. She'd bumped into me, spilled her champagne on my jacket, insisted on having it cleaned. Her number written on a napkin with a lipstick kiss. It had seemed like fate. What do I do? I asked, my wedding day transforming from dream to nightmare in the space of a phone call. That's up to you, Rachel said. But whatever you decide, don't let her know you're onto her. She's dangerous when cornered. Call this number when you're somewhere private. The line went dead. I stared at my reflection. The man looking back at me had been a fool. But was he still? I finished tying my bow tie with trembling fingers. I had 3 hours until I do. 3 hours to decide whether to confront the woman I loved or play along with the greatest con of my life. Danny? You've been in there forever. We need to leave for the venue in 20. Eliza's voice came through the door, honey-sweet and tinged with the southern accent that came and went depending on her mood. I splashed cold water on my face and opened the door. There she stood, already in her going-away outfit, a cream silk jumpsuit that made her look like a 1970s movie star. Her blonde hair was in loose waves, her makeup perfect. She'd be changing into her wedding dress at the Four Seasons, where we'd booked the Magnolia Ballroom at a cost that had made me wince but that she had insisted was worth every penny. You look pale, she said, pressing a cool hand to my cheek. Pre-wedding jitters? Something like that, I managed, my voice steadier than I expected. She smiled, the smile that had made me fall for her that first night. Cold feet are normal. But trust me, by tonight you'll wonder why you were ever nervous. By tonight you'll wonder why you were ever nervous. The words took on new meaning now. By tonight, would she already be gone? Or would she wait until after the honeymoon to the Maldives, first-class tickets, presidential suite, all on my credit card? I just need to grab something from my office, then I'm ready, I said. She frowned slightly. We're running late, Danny. 2 minutes, I promised, already moving past her. In my home office, I locked the door and called Rachel back. Tell me everything, I said when she answered. For the next 10 minutes, Rachel laid out Claire Donovan's, not Eliza's, history. Born in Tallahassee, not Portland. No art history degree from Reed College. No year teaching English in Japan. Instead, a series of short cons leading to her specialized approach, targeting successful men, whirlwind romances, elaborate weddings, and disappearing acts. The pattern is always the same, Rachel explained. She creates urgency in the relationship, some reason why the wedding needs to happen quickly. With Jason, she faked a job offer abroad that would separate them unless they married first. Eliza had told me she couldn't bear the thought of dating long distance when her fictional gallery in Chicago offered her a director position. We'd been dating 3 months when she suggested we get married instead of breaking up. It had seemed romantic then. Impulsive but passionate. She's got all your banking information? Rachel asked. Yes. Plus, she's on my mortgage now. We were going to add her to my investment accounts after the wedding. That's her endgame. Once she has access to everything, she drains it all at once. Usually during the honeymoon while you're sleeping off drinks she's spiked. A knock at my office door made me jump. Danny? The car is here, called Eliza. I have to go, I whispered. Call me from the venue, Rachel said urgently. I'm in San Francisco. I can help you end this. I hung up and opened the door. Eliza stood there, her perfect eyebrows drawn together in concern. Everything okay? Just confirming some details with the band, I lied, amazed at how easily the deception came. Her face relaxed. Always the perfectionist. That's why I love you. She kissed me, and it took everything in me not to recoil. Let's go get married. As we walked to the waiting car, I made a decision. I wouldn't confront her. Not yet. I would play along and find out just how far she was willing to take this con. And then I would turn the tables. The Four Seasons hummed with pre-wedding activity. I excused myself, claiming last-minute vow revisions, and found an empty conference room to call Rachel back. I want to catch her in the act, I said without preamble. That's risky, Rachel replied. Once she realizes you know, she'll run. And she's good at disappearing. I need proof. I need to understand how deep this goes. What's your plan? I thought quickly. The wedding goes ahead as planned. But I need to secure my accounts, stop her from taking everything. She'll have contingencies, Rachel warned. If she can't access your accounts, she'll go to Plan B, probably identity theft. With your driver's license missing, she could open credit lines in your name. I hadn't considered that. Can you come here? To the hotel? Already on my way. Text me the address. After sending Rachel the details, I called my bank's fraud department and my investment broker, putting 48-hour holds on all transactions. I couldn't close the accounts without raising Eliza's suspicions, but I could buy myself time. As I was finishing the last call, my best man, Trevor, found me. There you are. Everyone's looking for you. It's almost time. Trevor had been my roommate in college. He'd expressed reservations about how quickly Eliza and I had gotten engaged, reservations I'd dismissed as jealousy. Trev, I need to tell you something insane, I said, closing the conference room door. His face shifted from exasperation to concern as I gave him the condensed version. Holy shit, he whispered when I finished. What are you going to do? Go through with the ceremony. but I need your help keeping an eye on her. You know this sounds completely paranoid, right? Maybe this Rachel person is the crazy one. I showed him my empty wallet where my driver's license should have been. Okay, he conceded. That's weird. But maybe you just lost it. Check your wallet, I said suddenly, remembering something Eliza had asked to see it 2 days ago, claiming she wanted to see the photo on his license. Trevor pulled out his wallet and checked. His expression changed. My license is gone too. We stared at each other. She's building identities to use, I said, remembering Rachel's words. Probably has credit cards being delivered somewhere in our names. Trevor ran a hand through his hair. This is insane. What do we do? We play along. Rachel's on her way. She's been tracking Eli, Claire, for years. Jesus, Dan. You're getting married in less than an hour. I checked my watch. He was right. 52 minutes until I was supposed to say I do to a woman who didn't exist. Not really, I said grimly. I'm just putting on a show. Standing at the altar, I watched the doors at the back of the ballroom, my heart hammering against my ribs. The string quartet played Pachelbel's Canon, Eliza's Choice. 130 guests filled the seats, most of them my colleagues, clients, and the few friends Eliza had allowed me to maintain in our relationship. Her side was sparse, just a handful of people she'd claimed were old college friends and distant cousins. Now I wondered if they were accomplices or simply actors hired to fill seats. The doors opened, and there she was, a vision in white. Her dress, which had cost more than my first car, was vintage-inspired lace with pearl beading. She'd chosen it, she'd told me, because it reminded her of her mother's wedding dress. Another lie. As she glided down the aisle on the arm of her uncle, who was he really, her eyes locked with mine, and she smiled, that radiant smile that had made me trust her, love her, propose to her after just 5 months. Now that smile made my blood run cold. The ceremony proceeded like a surreal play in which I was both actor and audience. I spoke my lines robotically, going through the motions while scanning the room for Rachel. I didn't see anyone who matched the voice I'd heard on the phone. And now, the couple has prepared their own vows, the officiant announced. Eliza went first, her voice thick with emotion as she promised to love me forever, to build a life with me, to always be honest. The irony would have been comical if it weren't so painful. Then it was my turn. I pulled out the paper where I'd written my original vows and pretended to read from it while actually saying, Eliza, from the moment we met, I knew there was something special about you. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I looked directly into her eyes. Now I understand what it was. You're extraordinary in ways I'm only beginning to comprehend. Your ability to become exactly what I needed, to create this entire persona, it's almost admirable. A flicker of confusion crossed her face, quickly masked. I promise to always see you, the real you, not just the version you want me to see. I promise to be as observant and detail-oriented in our marriage as I've been in my career. And I promise that whatever happens next will be exactly what you deserve. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Eliza's smile remained fixed, but her eyes had hardened, calculating. With this ring, I said, sliding the platinum band onto her finger, I promise that justice will always find its way home. The officiant, clearly uncomfortable with the strange tension, hurried through the rest of the ceremony. When he pronounced us husband and wife, Eliza kissed me with convincing passion, whispering against my lips, "What was that about?" Just overcome with emotion, I lied, squeezing her hand too tightly as we turned to face our applauding guests. As we walked back down the aisle, I spotted a woman at the back of the room who hadn't been there before. Mid-30s, auburn hair, intense eyes fixed on Eliza. She gave me a slight nod. Rachel. The game was afoot. The reception was a blur of champagne toasts and forced smiles. I played the part of the besotted groom while watching Eliza's every move. 3 times she excused herself, phone in hand. Each time, Trevor or I followed discreetly. She was making calls in the stairwell, speaking too quietly to overhear. Rachel circulated through the party as if she were a guest, eventually making her way to me while Eliza was surrounded by well-wishers. "She's nervous," Rachel said under her breath, pretending to congratulate me. "She keeps checking her phone." "Did you secure your accounts?" "Temporary holds," I confirmed. "She can't transfer anything substantial for 48 hours. "Good. But she'll have backup plans. The honeymoon, that's when she'll make her move. We leave for the Maldives tomorrow night." Rachel's expression tightened. "Perfect setup. Isolated resort, difficult to return quickly if something happens. She'll drug you, clean out whatever accounts she can access, and be gone before you wake up." "What about the police? Can't we just report her?" "For what? Being a liar? You willingly gave her access to your accounts. She's now legally your wife. Any transfers could be argued as legitimate. So what's your plan?" "We need her to reveal herself. Catch her in the act of transferring funds or leaving. Better yet, get her to confess." Before she could elaborate, Eliza appeared at my side, slipping her arm through mine possessively. "Making new friends, darling?" Her voice was light, but her grip on my arm was vice-like. "This is Rachel," I said. "She works with Trevor at the firm." Rachel extended her hand, cool as ice. "Congratulations. You make a stunning bride." "Thank you," Eliza replied, her eyes scanning Rachel with subtle suspicion. "If you'll excuse us, I need to borrow my husband for our first dance." As Eliza pulled me toward the dance floor, I caught Rachel's warning look. The band began playing La Vie en Rose, another of Eliza's carefully calculated choices. As we swayed among the floating rose petals, her idea, under twinkling lights, also her idea, she pressed her lips to my ear. "Who is she really?" she whispered. My blood froze. "What do you mean?" "Rachel. Trevor doesn't have any female colleagues named Rachel. I've met everyone at his firm." Of course she had. Eliza, Claire, left nothing to chance. "Old friend," I improvised. "From before Trevor joined the firm." She pulled back slightly, studying my face. For the first time, I saw the calculated intelligence behind her eyes, the predator assessing whether her prey had caught on. "You're acting strange," she said softly. "Just overwhelmed," I replied, forcing a smile. "It's not every day you marry the woman of your dreams." Something in my tone must have convinced her, because she relaxed fractionally. "Wait until tonight," she purred. "I have a surprise for you." "I bet you do," I thought, continuing the dance as if my world hadn't shattered hours earlier. The reception ended at midnight. As tradition dictated, we'd booked the presidential suite for our wedding night before flying out the next evening. Eliza had insisted on it, despite my suggestion that we could just go home given the late flight the next day. Now I understood why. She needed a neutral location with multiple exit routes. In the elevator, she leaned against me, the picture of a tired but happy bride. "What a perfect day," she sighed. "Though your vows were a bit unusual." "Were they?" I asked innocently. She gave me a sidelong look. "All that talk about seeing the real me in justice. Almost sounded like you were suspicious of something." The elevator doors opened at our floor, saving me from responding. As we walked down the hall, my phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. "She's booked a flight to Buenos Aires. Leaves at 6 a.m. American Airlines." My heart pounded as Eliza unlocked our suite door. The room was spectacular, champagne on ice, rose petals on the king-sized bed, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the twinkling city. "I'll slip into something more comfortable," Eliza said, grabbing a small bag and disappearing into the bathroom. The moment the door closed, I frantically texted Rachel, in suite 1420. "She's planning something tonight. Get up here." I checked my banking apps, the holds were still in place. Whatever she was planning, she couldn't transfer large sums yet. When Eliza emerged in a silk negligee, I was sitting on the edge of the bed, 2 champagne glasses poured. "A toast," I suggested, handing her a glass. "To new beginnings." To us, she countered, taking a delicate sip. I pretended to drink, watching her over the rim. Would she try to drug me now? Or wait until I was asleep? Aren't you drinking? She asked, noticing my full glass. Just savoring the moment, I said, taking a small sip. The champagne tasted normal, but I couldn't be sure. She smiled and moved closer, trailing her fingers up my arm. I've been waiting for this day for so long, Danny. Finally, truly being together. Me too, I said, setting down my glass. There's just one thing I've been wondering. What's that? She murmured, her lips brushing my neck. What's in Buenos Aires? She froze, her body suddenly rigid against mine. Then, smoothly, she pulled back, her expression puzzled. Buenos Aires? What are you talking about? Your 6 a.m. flight, I said calmly. American Airlines. Seems like an odd honeymoon destination when we have tickets to the Maldives for tomorrow night. For a moment, her mask slipped completely. I saw calculation, then anger, then a rapid recalibration. Danny, she laughed, the sound brittle. You're not making any sense. Too much champagne at the reception? I stood up, creating distance between us. Actually, I'm thinking quite clearly, Claire. The name hit her like a physical blow. She took an involuntary step back, her eyes darting to the door. You've been busy, I continued, watching her transformation from loving bride to cornered animal. Setting up accounts in my name, taking Trevor's ID too, nice touch, getting a backup identity. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, but her hand was inching toward her purse on the nearby dresser. Looking for this? I pulled her phone from my pocket. I took it while you were in the bathroom. Interesting text history with someone named Marcus. Lots of flight details, account numbers. Something about a final score? Her face contorted with rage. Give me my phone. Not yet, Claire. Or do you prefer Eliza? Or was it Sophia with Jason? Emily with Thomas? How many names have you had? Who have you been talking to? She demanded, abandoning the pretense. Does it matter? Your game is over. The police are on their way. So is Rachel Winters, Jason's new wife. She's been tracking you for years. That bitch, she spat, her entire demeanor transformed. The soft southern drawl vanished, replaced by a harder edge. She doesn't know when to quit. A knock at the door made her flinch. That'll be her now, I said. Along with hotel security. Eliza, Claire, looked like a trapped animal, her eyes calculating escape routes. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. Oh, Danny. You really think you've won, don't you? That this is the part where I break down and confess, and you get to play the hero? She moved to the window, looking out at the city below, her back to me. You have no idea what you're dealing with. You think I don't have contingency plans? Like your 6 a.m. flight? Already cancelled. Your offshore accounts? Flagged. The credit cards in my name? Frozen. She turned, and the look on her face chilled me. No longer the warm, loving woman I thought I married, but someone colder, harder, dangerous. You've cost me a lot of money today, Danny, she said softly. I don't take that lightly. Another knock, more insistent. Open the door, Danny, she said, surprising me. Let's get this over with. Keeping my eyes on her, I moved to the door and opened it. Rachel stood there with 2 hotel security guards and Trevor. Daniel, Rachel began, is everything. Before she could finish, Eliza bolted, not for the door as I'd expected, but for the balcony. She flung open the glass doors and was outside in seconds. Claire, stop! Rachel shouted, rushing past me. We all ran after her, bursting onto the balcony to find Eliza standing at the railing, 14 floors above the street. Stay back, she warned, one leg already over the edge. Claire, don't, Rachel said, her voice gentler now. It's not worth it. Oh, this isn't about suicide, Eliza replied with a cold smile. Danny's right about one thing, I always have a backup plan. In one fluid motion, she pulled something from the bodice of her negligee, my missing driver's license, and flicked it over the edge into the darkness. "A little memento," she said. Then, before any of us could react, she swung her other leg over the railing. My heart stopped, but instead of falling, she grabbed onto something. A rope, I realized with shock. A climbing rope, anchored somewhere above us. "You should have stuck to the script, Danny," she called, now dangling outside the balcony. "We could have had a beautiful honeymoon before the tragic accident that would have left you heartbroken but significantly wealthier. Your life insurance policy with me as beneficiary would have been quite the consolation prize." With practiced skill, she began rappelling down the side of the hotel. The security guards radioed for backup while Rachel, Trevor, and I watched in disbelief as my bride of 10 hours disappeared into the night. "She'll be gone before anyone reaches the ground floor," Rachel said grimly. "She's done this before." The aftermath was a hurricane of police reports, fraud investigations, and humiliating explanations. The wedding guests learned through a carefully worded email that the marriage had been annulled due to previously undisclosed circumstances. My company's PR team worked overtime to minimize the professional embarrassment. The police found evidence that Claire Donovan had victimized at least 7 men before me, assuming a new identity each time. They discovered a network of accomplices, including her uncle who had walked her down the aisle and several college friends at the wedding. They were actors, paid to play parts in her elaborate cons. But Claire herself had vanished. The Buenos Aires flight had been a decoy. She'd actually boarded a private charter to Vancouver from a smaller airfield north of the city. From there, the trail went cold. My accounts were secure, but the emotional damage was done. I'd fallen in love with a ghost, a carefully constructed facade designed to separate me from my money. Every memory, every intimate moment, had been calculated manipulation. 3 months after the wedding that wasn't, I received a postcard. No return address, postmarked from an unreadable location. On the front was a tropical beach. On the back, in elegant handwriting I recognized immediately. "Danny. You were my favorite, the only one who caught on. For that alone, you deserve to keep your money. But the game isn't over. Look me up if you're ever in Bali. I'll be the one in white. Always your bride, C." I should have thrown it away. I should have sent it to the FBI, who had an open file on her. Instead, I put it in my desk drawer, a reminder of how easily the heart can be deceived. Rachel and I stayed in touch, united by our parallel experiences with Claire. Trevor, feeling guilty about his missing ID potentially enabling future fraud, joined our informal network tracking Claire's activities. 6 months after the wedding, we caught a lead, a wealthy tech entrepreneur in Austin with a whirlwind engagement to a woman matching Claire's description, now calling herself Natalie. I flew to Texas, not sure what I would do when I saw her. Warn her new mark? Confront her? Find closure? The engagement party was at a waterfront mansion. I stood across the street, watching guests arrive, when a text came through from an unknown number. "Nice try, Danny. But I saw you coming. Austin was a decoy. The real game is elsewhere. You're better than this, or at least, I thought you were. See." I looked up from my phone to see the fiancée arriving at the party, a woman who looked nothing like Claire. Another text, "I'm disappointed. I thought we had a connection. Perhaps next time, we'll play a different game." She was watching me. Right now. I scanned the street, the surrounding buildings, looking for her face in the crowd. Nothing. My phone buzzed one last time. "Stop looking for me, Danny. Or don't. Either way, I'll be watching. That's the thing about people like me, we're always one step ahead. Until we meet again, your almost wife." I deleted the texts, but I knew she was right. Part of me would always be looking for her, in every blonde at a charity gala, every charming stranger with a too-perfect story. Claire Donovan had taken something from me that no frozen bank account could protect, my trust. and in its place, she'd left a fascination that bordered on obsession. Sometimes, in my darkest moments, I wonder if that was her real con all along. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible content.